to Reverb Radio.
Hey yo, Josh, let me get a little bit of reverb.
Yeah. J Will.
Yeah, I'm about that lifestyle. I talk green work, repping it all over. It's right on the t-shirt, been for a lifetime. Yeah, that's a long pass. Figure I would show some love right on the podcast. Turn this up loud and make sure you don't do nothing else. Cause if you're listening to us, then you're improving your health. My name is J Will. Welcome, repping it, J Will. Been for a repping it, been for
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to some wrestling reverb. Kevin, we usually, for everybody, here's a little behind the scenes scoop. We usually talk for like a good, 20 minutes, Kev, before we start recording, I'd say, most of the time.
Yeah. So, we always talk for a little bit. So it varies a lot, depending on what has happened, what we're planning on talking about, and if, just something crazy shit has happened in our lives. But pretty quick this week to the punch.
Yeah, I was like, we just kind of said, hello, how are we going? And then was kind of like, I've got a lot on my brain wrestling-wise. I know for me I have. So I'm like, let's just kind of start recording because there's a lot to talk about within the world of wrestling. But first and foremost, I want to clarify something with you, Kevin. You quote tweeted me today about Avril Lavigne.
I sure did.
And we're going to probably argue about... Okay, so I put out a tweet sometime, by the time you hear this, it'll be a couple of days ago, that Nobody's Home by Avril Lavigne. Listen, Avril Lavigne has a lot of slappers. Let's just put that out there. In the early 2000s, she was crushing it. Some of her later stuff isn't that rad to me, but the early to mid 2000s, she had some bangers. And I think the song Nobody's Home by Avril Lavigne is her best song, because a lot of people say Skater Boy. The obvious answer, I think, for people is Skater Boy. Would you probably say that more so than Complicated? I think a lot of people go Skater Boy.
I think Skater Boy came first. I think Skater Boy was the one that launched.
I think Complicated was first, wasn't it?
Really? I don't know, man. All I know is that Skater
debut.
Boy was the one that launched her into the stratosphere.
Yeah, and everyone's always like, oh, Skater Boy, Avril Lavigne. I like that song. I like Complicated as well, but I think Nobody's Home is her best song. I really do. You didn't agree with me, though. You thought Complicated was better than Nobody's Home, yeah?
I'll say this. Yeah, I went Complicated, then Nobody's Home, then Skater Boy. But I think it's very tight. It's very tight between 1 and 2 there. Like Complicated and Nobody's Home are both really, really great. And then honestly, I have a drop off between those two and Skater Boy. Skater Boy is a good song, but I'm not crazy.
It's like iconic. Like I'll always like, oh, it's nostalgia. But like as like purely a song, I just don't think it is good. And I seen some people were tweeting in that thing like my happy ending was better than them. I'm like, oh no. My happy ending.
I don't know. That is a classic. That's a great one.
Yeah, it is. Avril Lavigne has a lot of slappers. I'll give her that. She really does. What? By the way, just out of curiosity, what's your opinion on that conspiracy theory that Avril Lavigne is actually not alive and there's a clone playing her, like a different, a doppelganger?
It's fun to, I guess it's fun to just look through, but like there's no merit to it. She's the same person. She matured as an artist, and also as a person. Like we met Avril Lavigne, and she was like 18 years old back at the.
That's true. I'm not the same person I was at 18 years old. I'm sure you were either.
I think a lot of her later work has. I don't think it's been as I don't think there's been like the slappers like she had in her early days. I don't think she's had a song quite like that in a while, but I think she's put out a lot of really quietly good songs in the last maybe I'll say this decade or this past decade, as opposed to like her heyday. I think she's still been really good. Avril Lavigne's one of my favorite. I'd probably put her top 5 all time for me.
Damn! Oh, I didn't know you were a big Avril Lavigne stan. There you go.
Yeah, I didn't realize it for a while, but like I have the way I look at it is I have like this huge Spotify playlist like where with all my favorite artists. It's like 1,200 songs deep.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is like, well, the people who I have the most songs of theirs on the list, those are probably my favorites. And I was looking through and counting, and I realized that like she was right up the top. Like I have like I think like 20 some songs of hers on my list.
Damn. Well, there you go. I didn't realize. By the way, anybody who wants to deep dive into that conspiracy that doesn't know, me and Ryan on Brothers by Law, like the second episode, we did that, and it was I don't know if I believe it, but it was interesting. It was. I love conspiracy.
It is interesting.
I love
like
conspiracy.
The people that think of these things are, they're thought out. They're meticulously put together.
Oh yeah. So if you want to hear about that, go through my archives and find that. But yeah, Avril Lavigne has some slappers. I stand by Nobody's Home being the best. By the way, when I have that, I have a playlist similar to that, Kevin, and for some reason, at the top of my list, for some reason, when I have like the most songs of people, it's Fergie. I have a lot of Fergie songs.
Wow, that's great. For me, oh wow, that's actually kind of crazy. For me, it's AC. I have like almost every AC/DC song ever recorded.
Yeah, Paramore for me, so I get you.
Yeah, I have tons of Beatles, tons of the Chili Peppers. But as far as more like more modern artists like of the 21st century, Avril's number one.
Damn.
Definitely.
Yeah, I have like
Avril and then like Lil Wayne, Eminem.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, it's very diverse. It's very, very all over the place.
Yeah, like Fergie's entire first album, like The Duchess. I have that like entire album in that. I'm just like, okay. I remember like vibing to that when I was like 11, but I mean, I haven't listened to it in quite a while, but yeah, Fergie's pretty lit.
You hear a Fergie song and you're like, wow, that is a good ass song, and you dive back in.
Yeah, London Bridge. What a song.
Oh, London Bridge was a good one. For the record, I just want to get this out there because if you noticed on that quote suite, after I put my list of those 3 songs, I then went and said there are better songs than all 3. And I know you're going with Nobody's Home. That's your one, your top.
I'm putting all my money on that one.
Okay, man, it's a real tough call. I'm gonna go. I'm With You is my number one.
I had a feeling that's a good song. Also, if I had to pick out of those, like
such a great song.
Nobody's Home, and then probably I'm With You is probably my number 2. Then probably Complicated.
Yeah, Nobody's Home is like fantastic though. I want that. I want that. I don't want it to be like I don't like that song because that isn't.
Yeah, I don't dislike any of those songs, to be honest. I like them all.
Way up the top of the list for sure. It's such a great song. And it's very it's mature. It's a very mature song, and like when you watch the video, it makes sense. Yeah, and it's really good. She's so good.
I'm into it. I love all that like early 2000s. You know how much I love early 2000s like generic pop music. Oh my god, Kelly Clarkson. Let's go.
Kelly Clarkson is an absolute legend.
Behind These Hazel Eyes by Kelly Clarkson just slaps all day. I'm just like, yes. And Renee Young's in that clip, who we're going to talk about very soon is Renee Young. But Renee Young is in that video clip. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I never saw that. I don't think I've seen I probably wouldn't have seen the video in a long time.
It's been a minute. But let's talk about wrestling because there's a lot going on in the world of wrestling. I'm going to start with the mentioned Renee Young because Kevin, you know how much I love that woman. You know how much I love her. So I'm going to steer the course on this one. I'll let you chime in a minute. But Renee Young has reportedly requested her release from WWE. Now, I'll say this. I've been kind of, I'm not surprised by this at all because of just how everything has played out with her in the last few years. I'm not surprised that she's requested her release. Believe it or not, Kev, it's been 8 years of Renee Young in WWE. That's kind of, it feels like, yesterday that she was kind of just like popping up as a backstage interviewer. I know there's a lot of stuff people are always going to be like, well, John's in AEW, so she's going to go there. I understand it and I get it. I guess there's always that option. And I guess it's always going to be kind of played into the factor. But Kev, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Renee Young is far too good to be on a wrestling program. Just far too talented. Yeah. She is so good at what she does. She's an incredible host, incredible personality. I think it'd be silly if she didn't explore other avenues. I mean, she can do obviously whatever she wants, but ESPN, Fox Sports, hosting her own talk show. She's got stuff with her cookbook. Like, she's doing a lot of stuff. I just think she's far too talented to be pigeonholed in a wrestling program. What do you think about all of that with Renee Young? And are you surprised, I should say?
I couldn't agree more. I've been waiting since she really broke in, even just still when she was still just NXT. I was waiting for this day. Not in the sense that I wanted it to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. She is far too talented for WWE. Not a knock on WWE. A testament to her incredible talent. She could be hosting ESPN. She could be a Sports Center anchor. She could be hosting like a daytime talk show on one of the networks. She could be. There's so many things she could do. She was so multi-talented too. She was a good interviewer. She was a good, she was good. She was great backstage. She was good on commentary. She was an incredible host of, whether it was Talking Smack, whether it was the pre-shows on takeovers or on pay-per-views or WWE backstage on Fox. She did literally everything well.
Yep, like literally everything she did. She gave her 110%. And I just, again, a wrestling program, especially for someone who's not in the ring, can certainly kind of limit you in what you can and can't do on screen. And I just think that, I've seen rumors a couple of years ago of ESPN being interested in Renee Young. And not only that, you've got to think that she was an incredible host of Backstage. I'm sad that show is gone because I genuinely loved it every single week. I know it wasn't doing incredibly well in the ratings, but I genuinely liked that show because it was something different under the WWE umbrella. You've got to think though, Kev, Fox ran that show. That was Fox's show. You've got to think that they saw the talent of Renee Young and thought, it'd be silly not to at least inquire about her talents coming over to Fox Sports, because she could easily run a sports show. She could easily run. I really do think that as long as the passion is there, she could run any format of show. She's a great host. She's a great leader. I guess Renee Paquette will be making a return or whatever she kind of decides to do, but I just wish her the best of luck. I honestly do. With whatever she does, I'll continue to be a fan of hers. You know how much I love Renee Young, but to say I'm surprised about this is a massive understatement. Like, it's been a long time coming. Not that selfishly I wish that she was hosting stuff on WWE programming, but I pretty confidently say that I don't think we'll be seeing her on wrestling programming anytime in the near future. I could be wrong. I mean, it's like I said, it'd be silly not to at least think it a little bit because of John. But I just don't think AEW has that space for her. They're not really geared towards having hosts of things and stuff. It'd be too pigeonholed for her, I think.
Yeah, I think the thing I'll miss most about Renee is the sense of legitimacy she brought. So many of the WWE announcers and interviewers and personnel of that nature are very much characters and are very much part of the show. Renee has been part of the show at times, but for the most part, she genuinely came off as like an unbiased journalist covering a sport, as opposed to just being part of the act. She seemed like she was above the fray. So, and that made it, the handful of times we saw her get involved. Like, remember when she slapped the taste out of Miz's mouth on SmackDown the one time?
And Maurice got her.
Yeah, it made it seem that much more impactful because that wasn't Renee Young. Like, Renee doesn't do that. She's above that. She's a real life journalist. So I think I'm gonna miss that the most, was how legitimate she made everything seem.
Yeah, she's just a fun personality. I really do adore that person. I think she's just a really wonderful. She's a wonderful, talented person. So best of luck to her. I'll continue to follow her on socials and bring back Renee Paquette, or whether she's going to just do her cooking stuff. She's releasing a cookbook soon, so maybe she's going to dive into that avenue. I just think she's got too many avenues to explore to not try and explore them if wrestling was just, if she was just going to go to another wrestling promotion. I couldn't imagine that she's ending with WWE on bad terms. I couldn't imagine that. Maybe I'm wrong. I think she's just ready to kind of do other things. She's talked about acting a lot. She's talked about other things. So, she said from the moment that she even got into, working on the score in Canada, that her one true goal was to host a late night TV show. She wanted to be Chelsea Handler. That was kind of her goals and aspirations in life. And I think I think it'd be silly to say that she shouldn't explore something maybe in the comedy world or just something different, because she's just far too talented to not be utilized like she has been. I think Backstage getting cancelled was maybe the nail in the coffin for her time in WWE, to be completely honest, because I think she finally found something that was right up her avenue, and then that got taken away. She's done everything that you can do as a presenter, as a host in WWE. What is there really left for her to explore within the world of wrestling, Kev?
There's not, and you said it yourself. She's accomplished everything, and I think this is when everything's sort of in flux right now, all over, not just wrestling. Literally everything is sort of in a weird place.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think this is probably the perfect time for her to branch out and to explore something new. There's going to be so many roles that need to be filled all across media, and I think that this is like the perfect time for her to jump out and take a leap. And that seems to be what she's doing.
Yeah. So all the best to her. Let's move on from Renee. All right. We're going to spend a lot of time here. We've got SummerSlam coming up this weekend. We've got NXT TakeOver 30 coming up this weekend. But let's talk about the WWE Thunderdome. It is the new, in their words, state-of-the-art facility that will be taking place somewhere in Orlando. I can't think of the actual arena name. Do you? Do you know the actual arena name?
Yeah, it's the Amway Center in Orlando.
Correct. So they've held, WWE's held many different shows over the years in that center, because that's Orlando's kind of main arena, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, they've had plenty of shows there. I feel like something important happened there.
I think Triple H winning the Rumble in 2016 was at that arena. AJ Styles debut. And
that could be. That's what it's been. It's been like a pay-per-view arena and like a major Raw / SmackDown arena throughout the year.
Yeah, so that's kind of
it's not far from where they are, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, so they're fine. So they're going to be taking place. There's going to be all these LED boards with virtual fans, and I've seen pictures of the setup. It looks pretty cool. It looks like wrestling again. It looks like a WWE arena with just lots of LED boards to hold the fans in, and you can kind of I guess get as close to normal as we can right now. I don't know exactly how it's going to come across on television, but I'm intrigued. I think it's a good thing. Of course, we were talking, the brief chat we did have before, Kev, WWE have to brand everything, don't they?
Yeah,
they just have to slap the name on it. I get it. But...
I get it too. Everything's it's a business, but yeah, it's funny. Like, you can't just be in an arena. You have to be in the Thunderdome. Although, as far as like names go, that is a good one.
I don't dislike it.
I'm pretty high on the Thunderdome, and I think it's going to be no matter what it looks like. I think anything right now different than the PC vibe. Mm-hmm. Not to knock on the PC vibe, but it's been the same thing. When you're going from city to city and arena to arena, everything stays a little fresh.
Yep.
But when you're in the same building with like the same group of talent serving as like surrogate fans, it gets stale. It definitely gets
old.
Oh,
absolutely. I'm glad that we had something over the last 5 months with the PC and everything like that, but I am ready for I'm ready for some kind of fans. I'm not saying it's going to be anything crazy because we don't know how it's going to come across, but I think it'll be all right. I believe you can comment on this more than I can, but NBA do it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was going to say. I'm intrigued to see how they do it with WWE. The NBA has been doing virtual fans. It's interesting. I haven't been paying too much attention to the NBA. I'm not like a huge basketball guy except college, but Yeah, they have like virtual LED boards with fans, and the fans cheer and the fans clap, and I think they pipe some noise into the arena, and it seems fun. It seems a little bit more normal. It's definitely an adjustment though, like for your eyes when you first see it. Like, instead of seeing real fans, you're seeing like huge faces on an LED board.
It's better than baseball. They have like cardboard cutouts, don't they?
Oh, baseball either does cardboard cutouts, nothing at all. Or if you watch baseball on Fox, they put like virtual crowds into the stands too. But instead of it being like actual fans that are sending in like cheers and stuff, it's just like a completely computer generated crowd, and it looks really weird.
I'm not a sport guy, so that's just hilarious to me because
Yeah,
sports rely on a crowd, like all sports do.
Well, I mean, I think baseball honestly is the one where you definitely like have the crowd for sure, but it's a little quieter, like, in between pitches, and you only really get the crowd when there's like a home run. I don't mind not having people in the seats for that. Wrestling though, I think is like dependent.
Oh God, it's dependent. That's how they dictate where they're kind of going. And I'm not saying, again, we're both not saying the PC has been bad, because it hasn't. It's certainly, it's better than nothing. And I'm glad they have some people in there as opposed to when it originally began, when there was no people in the PC. But I'm very excited for the aesthetic appeal of WWE to come back, because say what you will about WWE, but they do, aside from camera work, they do have a good production, and they do have a good, they're going to have pyro and all of this stuff. They said it's going to be better than WrestleMania, of course, because why wouldn't it be? Because that's how WWE operate. But I'm just excited. And not only that, Kev, we go back to true live television again, because we haven't had that for a minute.
Yeah, and you could tell the difference between watching something that was taped prior and watching a live show.
Yeah.
I missed that. I'm gonna miss, like, I'm looking forward to like a big like botch or something, like, just so I know that what I'm watching is live. Like, I hope nothing dangerous. I just hope like someone slips up on a line or like goes for an Irish whip and like trips.
Just so you get that feel of like, yes, it's finally back to some sense of normalcy. It's going to take a minute. Like you said, I've never watched anything with virtual fans like this. The closest I can relate to it, Kevin, is going to sound weird, but is The Voice. The Voice this year had virtual fans. So, I mean, it's something, and that was an adjustment to even get used to that. And they piped in certain noise, I'm sure. But true live television. Now, of course, you can register. I don't think registrations are, I think they're closed again because of all the people. It's like they've already filled up what they need to for SmackDown, but they must have registration periods. I tried to register just to kind of, suss it out, have a look. And it was all the spots have been filled, but your email's there. If they email you, you can kind of go on. There's so many rules, as there should be. There's no like non-WWE shirts. You can't have anything like any graphics or anything like that behind you, merchandise that isn't WWE related, because I guess they'd have to pay for it. I guess if it's on television, is that how I don't know exactly how it works.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And obviously they don't want, people are whinging about like, I can't wear my AEW shirt. It's like, no, why would they don't want that on their television.
Why would you wear? Well, the only reason you're wearing an AEW shirt to a WWE event, whether you're going in person or doing it virtually, is to be an asshole.
Because it's like, oh, they're trying to control it. Of course they want to. They want to have their product promoted on television. They don't want other things going on. So I understand it, and there's certain rules, and they can kick you out at any time if you're being a nuisance. So a lot of people are like, oh, someone's going to start something. It's like, I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to, because there's going to be people monitoring this, and I think if you do anything wrong, you're gone. Like, I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to do something wrong. It'll be, I guess, trial and error, and we'll see how we go, but I'm excited for it all. Of course, NXT staying in Full Sail, which honestly I like, because it makes NXT seem different again. Because I think that's what NXT's maybe is lacking a little bit, is that kind of cult-like mentality when it just looks like it's just like Raw and SmackDown at the moment, because we all kind of look very similar on an aesthetic appeal with the shows. So I'm glad NXT's staying in Full Sail. When it comes to NXT, we have got NXT Takeover this weekend, which A lot of people have some opinions on, especially as we're recording just after NXT is ending. Let's talk about Velveteen Dream, shall we? Because he returned last week to a I would say majority bad reaction from fans, because there was a lot of, we don't know what's true and what's not, but it seems to be pretty dismissed, this the alleged I guess how would I even describe this, sexual allegations with a minor? Would that be how I would put it?
He was accused of trying to. I'd have to go back and look because it's been a little bit now.
He basically sent pictures of himself to a minor and tried to persuade a minor into sexual activity of some kind on the internet.
Yes,
allegedly.
That's the story. That's what. And there was that clip going around the exchange, and I don't know. Obviously it's really tough to tell, and it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but it does leave a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth that this dude is not too long removed from these horrible allegations that came in the middle of a bunch of really, really horrible allegations towards wrestlers all over the place. And it is kind of, I don't feel great about him being back on TV. I don't know.
No, and the way Triple H I'm not saying it's Triple H's fault by any necessarily means of the word. I don't mean that in any way, but he just kind of said the reason it was off TV was because of that car accident, and they looked into the allegations and they were pretty much just dismissed. I guess for our peace of mind, it would be nice if WWE was able to release a statement, address these allegations, say they looked into it properly, and they talk, and everything, and then we can kind of move on. Because again, it is all allegedly. We don't know what's true and we don't know what's not, but it doesn't really add up in his favor very well. Like, from my point of view, at least, this is just me personally. It seems like what happened. It doesn't really seem like it was false. It seems all pretty real to me, but again, it's all allegedly, but it's just a very odd time for him to be back on television. And then not only that, he beat Finn Balor tonight to advance into the ladder match at Takeover, and it does leave a very sour taste in my mouth, and I'm sure it does a lot. I've seen a lot of it all over Twitter. I just wish that there was a little bit more. I know it's all behind closed doors, but it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of care from him or from the WWE as a business. I'm not talking WWE as a creative standpoint here. I don't give a shit about that when it comes to this. They're a business, and they're a publicly traded company that's allowing one of their workers to have allegations that really have not been cleared up on their television program. I just don't think it's a very good business move.
No, and it's not good when you look at some of the guys they had contracted that they did let go. Jack Gallagher was let go. I don't know if they officially let go of Jordan Devlin, but he was another one that got hit. That got hit with a couple of allegations, and I just think that it is weird. But the thing with wrestling though that will I think that it's such a fan driven thing, where as opposed to like your more sports centered businesses, baseball, basketball, whatever, where you have guys that have allegations against them, but like at the end of the day they're gonna keep playing. Like wrestlers only go as far as they go based on the fans, really. At the end of the day, like, you could have dudes that are backed by the machine, by the corporation, but if the fans aren't for it, then they're not going to go anywhere. So I think that what's going to happen with Velveteen Dream is that he's gonna, they're just gonna shout him down and shout him down and shout him down. I don't think he's gonna be long on TV. I think they're gonna take him off again soon.
I hope so. It's a shame. Kev, I haven't got my phone near me. Do you have a list of the participants in the NXT TakeOver ladder match around you by any chance? Because I've forgotten. I just know Velveteen's in it, and I know Bronson Reed's in it.
I could definitely. Okay, I could figure it out. Give me. I'm on
Johnny
Twitter
Gargano.
now.
Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, okay. This is the graphic I'm looking at, and this is from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, so I assume it's all right. We've got Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, the Velveteen Dream, Cameron Grimes, had to think of his name
Yes.
for a minute, and Damian Priest.
Yes. So, that's
That's a
5.
good line.
Is that
Jeez.
5? I'm trying to
5, yes.
Yep, 5 people. It's a good list. Let's just keep Velveteen out of the equation at the moment. It's a very different group of people, which is what I like, with the likes of Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed, and even to a certain degree Damian Priest in there. It's a good, different group of people, and then you've got someone like Johnny, who's obviously has NXT name value. I think it's going to be obviously it'll be a good match. I mean, there's no way that it won't. Now, Takeover isn't taking place in the Thunderdome, is it? That's taking place at Full Sail, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's at Full Sail. I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything to the contrary.
Which is fine by me. I'm more than fine.
Definitely.
I couldn't imagine this match would be bad, because it's of those 5 in it. But are you excited to see some fresh faces in the mid-card quote-unquote title scene?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a good mix of guys, guys like Reed, guys like Grimes, who are really, really good and just haven't really gotten the chance yet. Then you have guys like Dream and Gargano, everything we just set aside, Dream is a talented dude, definitely
Yes.
a really good name brand wrestler in NXT. Johnny Gargano speaks for himself. And then Damian Priest is like sort of the bridge between the two because he's had high profile matches and high profile stuff, but he's still a relatively fresh face in terms of the title scene. He's been floating around with with Keith Lee and Dijakovic in the North American scene, but I think this could be a breakout for him. I think this could be a breakout for Grimes and definitely for Reed too. Like this, this could be so good. And obviously there's history. You look back at the last North American Championship ladder match for the inaugural championship match, and that's one of the best matches you'll ever see in NXT or in period.
Just in wrestling. It's a very good match. So I have high hopes for that one. Another thing that's getting a lot of attention would be Pat McAfee taking on Adam Cole. Now, I've been very into this, and I think we've talked about this a couple weeks ago, how we are both kind of on board with this, and they've done their segments very well. And it is drawing in a lot of eyes onto NXT from football fans and everything else Pat McAfee does. And obviously Pat is a wrestling fan. We can kind of tell with the way his mannerisms are, and just the way he kind of builds things. He's very much in that wrestling bubble. And obviously he's been training for a little while. I think this match is actually, well, I don't think it'll be at all any sense of the word a 5-star classic, but I think it's going to be really good. And I don't think people are actually realizing how good this is going to be, because Adam Cole is absolutely fantastic. And Pat's been training and stuff like that. And I just think the atmosphere of it all will be really fun. So I don't know about you, Kev, but I'm signed up. I'm front row for this one.
It'll be good. It'll definitely be good. I think there's a couple different ways it could go. Honestly, there's a lot of different things. I don't think Pat McAfee walks out with a win per se, unless there's some crazy shit happens. I've seen not like from any real sources or anything. I've just seen people on Twitter saying, "What if the era turns on Cole?" That would blow my mind. I don't want that to happen, but like that would be crazy. The thing with Pat McAfee, and you said it, he draws in casuals. He definitely draws in casuals. Right? I think that was the thing maybe that NXT's never been too good at.
Yep.
Because they've always had the hardcore wrestling purist fan base, and they've never really done anything like this with someone that's geared clearly to bring in casuals. I don't personally care for Pat McAfee, but I realize his value, and he's an irritant. He's always been sort of like he's been really good at that douchebag sense of self about him. And I think that people are going to tune in to watch him get his ass beat. I think there's a huge value in that. And that's what I'm tuning in for. I want to watch Adam Cole rip this dude apart. I want to watch Adam Cole beat him from pillar to post. I don't think obviously I think he'll get his licks in too, but I wouldn't mind if it was just a straight up beatdown.
Yeah. I I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. It's a good clash of styles, and again, it brings in some new eyes, so I'm excited for that. Probably what I'm most excited about is the Women's Championship match, Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. Now, here's the thing, though. I love Io. I think she's the best wrestler in the world. But I probably like Dakota more than her. I really like Dakota Kai. We've had many discussions about Dakota and Tegan and all of that. I think Dakota Kai is kind of a little bit underrated with just how good she is, because she's really good. Like, she's really good. And I just think that her switching it up, turning heel, has just set her on another trajectory of just greatness. But I don't know. I think this match could be really good, but it could get a little overshadowed. And that's my kind of fear of it, to be honest.
I think it'll be. I think it'll open some eyes, because Kai is underrated. Even still, even being in the main event picture of the women's division, I think she is still a little under the radar. I don't think people put her in the same league as Shirai when I think that she belongs. I think that people are probably looking past this defense when I think, especially with how good Kai's been lately. I think you can't overlook her. I definitely think there's a real solid chance Dakota Kai takes the belt.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think it could happen. I wouldn't mind seeing it happen. Honestly, I think Kai would be great with that belt. Nothing against Io. I don't know. I think that NXT just has some really good heel reigns with that women's championship. And I've kind of grown to like that. And then it frees up Io. I think at some point you get Io to the main roster.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give my predictions on Twitch with Mags this weekend. But by the way, everyone, that's coming up. NXT Takeover and SummerSlam predictions on my Twitch. If you just go to my Twitch, you'll see exactly what time in your time zone. But it's 9:30 p.m. Saturday night my time, which is beforehand with everything because I'm in the future. So just go to my Twitch or go to my Twitter and you'll find out when. But I am a big Dakota Kai fan. I think she's probably my favorite in NXT, I would say. I don't think I really like anyone more than her. She's one of my favorites within all of wrestling, to be completely fair. I just really like Dakota. And she's been just kind of, I don't know, she's like, there's this weird little gap between her and Io. And I just think that there shouldn't be, like you said. And I really just rate Dakota Kai a lot. That's nothing taking away from Io Shirai. Like I said, I think we both agreed on this many times, Kev. We think Io is the best wrestler in the world, if not one of the best. I think that's pretty hands down that she's very fucking good. But yeah, I do fear that match is going to there's a lot on this card in terms of action and hype, and I'm just a little scared that it gets a little bit overshadowed, and I don't want that at all. Not me personally, I just think in the general picture. When you think about Adam Cole and you think about the ladder match and then the NXT Championship match, I'm just a little bit scared about it. But
yeah, no, I definitely, because you have a bunch of matches that are set. You have the ladder match is going to be just pure chaos, and we know how that plays. Like that always plays well with people. Then yeah, you have the draw like Pat McAfee and Adam Cole, and then Keith Lee and Karrion Kross is going to be something to behold. Not really sure how that's going to go. I think Keith Lee is kind of in a shitty spot here because I don't see any way you can't have Karrion Kross beat him.
Oh,
I
agree.
Has to win.
I agree. It should be a disservice to him with how well they've built him, because I think there's no way for Karrion Kross to lose this match in any form. He has to leave with the championship. So I agree, and it sucks for Keith Lee because he had so much momentum, and honestly, I hate saying this because it's like a normal thing to say when it comes to winning titles, but I think winning the title was like, it halted him. It just put a break on his momentum. I hate saying that.
It's just, it's just sometimes the chase is better than the end game, and Keith Lee really had a great and he was really great as North American champion, and I honestly think I'll even go back to him winning when he faced Adam Cole. I had Cole winning that match still because I thought Cole would be the one to drop it to Kross because I thought it would be better that way.
Yeah. It's weird, but NXT is certainly shaping up to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for Takeover. I'm excited. I'm also pretty excited for SummerSlam. I know a lot of people are like, I'm excited for a lot of stuff at SummerSlam. Let's talk about first and foremost what happened over the last few days with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, because a lot happened. A man, I don't want to say a wrestling fan, because I don't think he's in the same category as myself or you or any of the kind of people on Twitter we associate with. He's a stalker, and he was going to, I'm paraphrasing and I'm just kind of taking out key bits here, but basically he was going to kidnap Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose was in the house with her. Obviously they're friends, and he had messages sent to Sonya Deville's Instagram saying he's going to kill that bitch that was inside. He cut into her patio, like he was on her back deck, like, and then she kind of come face to face with him. She luckily escaped, her and Mandy escaped, and he was arrested and all of that kind of stuff. It was very early in the morning. A lot of stuff went down, and it was very scary. So I'm glad that they're safe. A lot of people were like, I don't understand how you get in this mindset of speaking about fucking kayfabe, which is, by the way, kayfabe is dead. There's no fucking kayfabe in wrestling anymore anyway, so I don't know why it's a problem to you that, oh my god, Mandy and Sonya are still friends now? They can't have a match at SummerSlam. What the fuck, people? Do people not, like, I don't understand their association with things like this. It's like they're playing characters on television. It's got nothing to do with their real lives. Like, just calm down. Like, let's just think about the bigger picture here, is that people are worried about a wrestling match when they literally could have been killed. Like, it was a possibility that guy could have killed both of them in that house a couple of days ago. I just don't understand how kayfabe comes into this at all. Kayfabe is dead, I feel. I don't think there's much kayfabe in wrestling anymore anyway. It doesn't matter to me. And also, it doesn't take away the fact of what they're doing at SummerSlam, given if they're all okay to perform after what happened. But it doesn't really take away from the fact of their story. It makes, the whole time, of course we know Sonya and Mandy are still best friends. The fuck, people? I just don't understand. It's like, I use the example here of Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston in Friends years and years ago were dating at the time they appeared on the show together, and they hated each other in that episode of Friends. Does that make any difference to how they're portrayed on the characters to what they are in real life? No, it makes no difference. It's no different with wrestling. It's a television show. It's a fake television show, people. It's scripted. I think some people can't make the disconnect with wrestling for some reason. But Kevin, overall thoughts on everything I just kind of ranted about?
First off, obviously, thank God that this was just foiled, and without any harm to Sonya and Mandy. That's a terrifying thing to think about, not being safe in your own home.
Yes.
I don't know how, I don't know how these people, and they're not fans, they're lunatics. They're crazy. Yeah. I don't know how you figure you have to be an absolute stalker to find out a public figure's home address. Yeah. And then you show up there. And I remember I was reading something like, I guess this guy left her like hundreds of DMs and on Instagram and on Twitter, like, you're my one true love. He's sick. It's sick. He's a sick, whoever this is, I don't know the name. I know it's out there. I just don't know off the top of my head. Sick person.
Yeah, sick. And by the way, everyone, if anyone doesn't know if anyone doesn't have an Instagram account that's listening to this and are like, oh, why didn't Sonya see these messages? Instagram filters. So I think if you're not following them, or if you're like a page or a brand, a celebrity, it filters them into message requests. So you'd have to actually go into it. It doesn't notify you basically until you click on it. And then I would assume, because anyone can message anyone on Instagram, you don't have to be following them, or they don't have to be following you. Anyone can message you. So she would have, I would assume, a lot of messages in her messages requests. It's not like she's seeing this stuff all the time. Yeah, that's my understanding anyway.
Absolutely. I don't think she would. Yeah, she absolutely wouldn't have checked them until I'm pretty sure I read that she didn't check them, and then when she got his name, she went back and looked and found them. I don't think she was like, oh, well, this guy, I know that. But yeah, it's just a real messed up situation. Glad everyone's okay. And yeah, like, I don't know what to tell you if you were like a wrestling fan who was watching SmackDown over the last 6 to 8 weeks and genuinely thought that these two best friends just like stopped being best friends and started hating each other to the point of physical violence. If you thought that was just the straight and narrow, just exactly how it happened, like totally legit, that's not great. Like, that's an indictment of you as a person.
Yep.
But I get it, you know, you want to believe, but at the same time, yeah, this is a real life situation that could have turned very badly, very, very bad, very quick.
Yeah.
So let's just be thankful that Sonya and Mandy are okay. Mm-hmm. They're unharmed, and you know, pending their mental fitness for this, because obviously this is a terrifying ordeal. If they could still go on Sunday and they want to have a match, we're getting that match. Don't be like, oh, but we can't get the match now. Like, shut up. Dude, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna put on a great ass match because this has been like the best story in WWE over the last couple of months.
Yeah,
and someone's gonna lose their hair. But you know what?
Really, we've been going with this story. If you think about it, since the beginning of Otis and Mandy back last November.
Yeah. Oh.
That's crazy.
It's been such a good story. It's like cheesy, but like wrestling is inherently cheesy, so that's the best way you could do it. And it's been really nice and really sweet. And like Otis is a good guy, and he's an easy guy to root for. And in turn, like Mandy's been like really easy to root for. I think people, you know,
sleep
Mandy
on her a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sonya has always been great. And she's been super, super good on the mic and in the ring, especially with every, you know, and since this turn of events, since this turn in the story, Sonya's been killing it.
Oh my God, it's been.
I don't
really
know who wins this match on Sunday. I would assume Mandy. Could go either way, honestly. But you know, I think we win for getting it. Just in general, I think that everyone wins because Mandy and Sonya are okay, and that they're going to be able to go forward with their careers. Because you know, if hair is the worst thing we're losing in this whole situation,
oh well, round of applause. It's been a really good story. I'm glad they're getting the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. They're getting a spot on the card. Hair versus hair. There's a lot of stuff behind it, and I think perfect time to have fans back in because you can't really boo either of these two at the moment, to be completely fair. I think they're going to get a nice, solid reaction for both of them. Also, I do want to point out, we talk about Sonya a lot and how great she has been in the last few months on the mic, in the ring, just been killing it. She has been the standout of this story. That's including a story with Otis in it, so just think about that. But Mandy Rose, all right? People give her a lot of flack. She's a model. She's a pretty face. We understand. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Mandy Rose is not bad in the ring at all. She's actually quite good in the ring. And her promo on SmackDown this week was really good. Like,
yeah, it was.
Really, really good. Like, I was like, damn, okay, Mandy. I would be looking, if I was Mandy Rose right now, and my best friend is absolutely crushing it, and everybody is talking about her, that would light a fire under my ass. Because it would be in a friendly way. I don't mean it in a jealous way, but there would be a little bit of professional jealousy there going, oh, I want that. I want people to say, oh, look how good Mandy Rose is. So I feel like Mandy's almost got more to prove than Sonya in this match, and I don't know why. And I'm not saying that I don't dislike Sonya Deville at all. I love Sonya Deville. We all do. But I would argue that Mandy has a lot more to prove than Sonya.
I would agree. I think Sonya's always been, even going back to when she debuted as part of Absolution, I think Sonya's always been the one where people are like, she's good. We know she's good. She just got to break out. Mandy's always had that rep because she's a model. She looks the way she looks, and people hold that against her. Which is unfair. But if you go back to I'll go back to Tough Enough, back when that was still a thing, and Mandy was on there, and she didn't win, but she was the clear standout in a field of. Yeah. There was a lot of really talented women on that show, but she was the clear standout as the total package. Like she was, she's been great on the mic. I think she's always been good on the mic. She's athletic. She's very talented in the ring. She's never really, she's shown it when she gets the chance. It's like she's never been bad. Like I don't remember any match where I was like, wow, Mandy Rose really didn't step up. it's you know, it's all a matter of stepping outside of the preconceived notions we have sometimes about people. We can't help it. It's instinctual when we see a
Yeah.
woman that literally fits the Vince McMahon mold to a T. We hold that against her, and it's just how it is. And you know, but she's proven every turn, even before this story, she's proven every step of the way that she is much more than meets the eye. She is a lot better than people want to seem to give her credit for. And so, yeah, this is the culmination of a long journey for Mandy Rose, and I definitely think she has a lot to prove. But I think she's going to prove it. I absolutely think she's
Oh
going
no,
to prove
I'm not. Yeah, I think she's going to as well. Like coming from a gay man here, I'm still not blind. That woman is beautiful. We all know that she is beautiful, and it's like, okay, we get it. But you know who else is exactly like that? And one of now the greatest women's champions, Hall of Famers, is Trish Stratus. And we will give her absolutely all the respect in the world. If this was Trish Stratus and we Trish Stratus was just starting now, I don't think Trish Stratus would be as loved as she was in the time that she was there, because it's a very different era now. But Trish Stratus is arguably, Kevin, probably the greatest WWE Women's Champion ever in the terms of the old Women's Championship. I don't mean this generation, but probably, if not one of the greatest female names in the history of WWE, in the history of wrestling. When you really think about it, Trish Stratus is iconic. So, I don't know. Mandy's obviously in that similar vein to Trish Stratus. So, I just think that people need to get past that. Okay, yes, she does, like you said, fit that Vince McMahon mold. But that's not a bad thing. Not always. It's not always a bad thing. And I just think that Mandy has a lot to prove. And I don't. There's no way to me that this hair versus hair match will be bad, because they're friends. So they've probably wrestled each other a lot in the sense of training together, and they know each other. I just think this could be a lot of fun. That is one thing I'm very excited for at SummerSlam. We're not going to run down every single match at SummerSlam, but a couple more things I want to... Obviously, let's talk about the street fight, Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio. Probably the thing I'm most excited for, to be completely fair. I just think it's going to be really good, and I don't think people realize how good it's going to be. I'm not saying Dominic is going to be in there, you know. He's obviously been training, and he obviously has it in his blood. But we've said this before, Kev, and I'll tell you a little secret. Seth Rollins is really fucking good.
Seth Rollins is one of the best in the world. Like, there's no doubt. He's literally never has a bad match. Never has a bad match.
Nope.
And he's not gonna have a bad match on Sunday. This is literally like tailor-made for the situation. You have a guy like Seth, who is a ring general, who will lead the way. You have a guy like Dominic, young, green, but you know, explosive, and definitely in the short time we've seen him has impressed.
Yeah.
And you throw a couple of weapons, and it's like, it's almost impossible to have a bad street fight. Honest to God, like you throw some chairs, some kendo sticks, maybe a trash can in there, and you just let guys wail on each other, and it's gonna be good every single time.
You're right. There's no lie detected in that one. There's not really too much more to say, only for the fact that this has been a really good build. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see Ray in there. I'm excited to see what Dominic has in store. It's perfect time to have fans back. I think that's kind of the marquee with this kind of show, is that it's perfect time. And Seth Rollins is really good. Murphy's going to be involved. This is going to be an absolute chaotic time with a street fight, and I think it could be, I'm not even kidding when I say this, a show stealer.
Yeah, and I hope Dominic really lays in with some kendo stick shots, because the ones he took were
Seth.
gross.
It was like, welcome to your new life, Dominic.
I showed that picture to a group of friends that aren't wrestling fans, and they were literally like, "What happened? Like, why did they do that?"
Oh, it looked nasty. It looked really nasty, but I'm genuinely excited for this. Something else I'm really excited about. We've talked about Drew and Randy a lot, so we won't kind of harp on about that too much, just because we've kind of said our piece. The only thing I'll add is that Shawn Michaels didn't sell the punt kick on Raw, and it really pissed me off. Sorry, Shawn. I love you, Vince.
Yeah, that thing that's supposed to be a career ender. You don't get up from the punt.
No.
I love the punt's like one of my favorite moves ever. Maybe I might like the punt more than I like the RKO.
That could be a hot take.
It could be. I'll stand
I don't
by
know.
it though. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
no,
like sell it, Sean. You don't need to be
yeah, dude,
standing and
just
all that
literally
kind of
like
shit.
just let the cameras cut out and then get up and do what you do, whatever. But like, no, but this is gonna be this is gonna be a good match. This is gonna be like a that's not saying that it's going to be a classic, but it's going to be like that classic title
Face
match.
heel,
feel.
like face heel. We've got our clear kind of thing, and it could go either way. We've set our kind of piece on that over the last few weeks. Asuka, of course, we now know we were very wrong about the Battle Royal last week, Kev. Very wrong.
Didn't see this coming at all.
Not mad. Asuka now has the chance to take both belts from both Sasha and Bayley. And there's no way that either match will suck because of the talent involved. Of course, it has mixed opinions from people. Although, I'll say it has less mixed opinions because everybody loves Asuka. Like,
Yeah, that's
everybody.
I'll say you could not pull this move off with a lot of people.
No.
But you probably could with Asuka, because like, especially with and it is a testament to how good the story has been too. Because you want to see Asuka, you didn't want to see Asuka get her hands on just one of these women. You want to see her get her hands on both of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm definitely a mixed bag with this. I think the conventional wisdom would be you kind of want to get the spotlight on someone else, and you don't want to pigeonhole the division into three people, and I get that, and I do kind of feel it on some level. But like I just said, I kind of feel like this is justice for Asuka. She gets her hands on Bayley, and she gets her hands on Sasha. And where do you go from here? Like, which one does I have to imagine she wins at least one belt. Which is it going to be?
You wouldn't think you'd go in and should lose both. Does it put the seeds in motion for, now that we have fans kind of back, does it put the seeds in motion? Does she beat one and the other one tries to help the other one and they accidentally fuck it up? Does Bayley lose? Does Sasha lose?
I'm thinking. I think that she wins one. I think she wins one, loses one, but I think the one that she wins is gonna be some inadvertent, one Bayley screws over Sasha on accident or vice versa. I think it's gonna happen.
Do you know what I think? I'll give you this. I know I said I'll do predictions between Twitch, but I'll give you this, everybody. I think that Bayley and Asuka's match is first, and Sasha helps Bayley to keep the championship, and then Bayley does not do the same for Sasha, and Asuka beats Sasha.
Ooh. Well, there was, I mean, there was that little moment. I just basically see people tweet about it. There was a little moment on Raw or
SmackDown last week. You talking about the thing with Bayley, how she said it wasn't important. Are you talking about that?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's interesting, and it's like, oh, they're planting seeds. I like that. I love a slow burn. I'm that kind of person. They've done it very well. But that's what I think will happen, to be completely honest. And it could go either way. Hey, there is a possibility, Kevin, that Asuka walks out with 2 belts.
Yeah, I mean, they could. Yeah, that scenario that sort of, the one of them accidentally screwing over the other, that could just happen both times. Honestly, one time it might not be an accident. That's what I'm saying. There are a lot of different things they could do, which makes me okay with the 2 matches for one person. I'm okay with it. I've made my peace with it.
And it's Asuka, and it's Sasha and Bayley. I'm not mad. I guess what the other thing we have to think about with that match is that, of course, a week from SummerSlam is Payback, and they are defending their women's tag team championships at that show. So do you carry in kind of tension and they lose that as well? Do they keep that? Who really knows? It does add a lot.
There are layers to this, kudos to the WWE, because they really did put themselves in like a gold mine spot here. There's so many things they could do.
Yep, and we'll see how it all plays out, starting with SummerSlam in the Thunderdome, of course. In the Thunderdome. It's in the Thunderdome. I'm excited for it all. I'm sure we'll both be watching all the events of Takeover and everything this weekend, and SummerSlam, of course. We've got Dynamite. Really Dynamite, by the way. Everybody, Dynamite's on at the same time as Takeover for at least a little bit of time, depending on... It said 6 p.m. or when the NBA ends. So does that mean it could run... Does NBA usually go over? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
more likely to go over than like to go under, I'd say. And you know, with I think NBA games do run over a lot, and if there's overtime, like there's no guarantee. So yeah, Dynamite's kind of in a weird spot. I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone really wants to miss Takeover.
You wouldn't think so, but then
No.
there's some people that are diehard on either side, so they'll do anything they can just to stick it to the other one. Because that's how wrestling fans work, and I don't understand why. I literally seen tweets today, Kevin, of people being like, I'm not watching NXT, even though I love wrestling. I'm not watching NXT because I don't want their ratings to increase just because AEW is not on. It's like, oh,
Well,
man.
then you don't love wrestling. You love AEW.
And
There's
that's fine.
there's a distinction.
Just own it. Anyway, but we've got a lot of wrestling coming up. Next week, I'm sure we'll talk about the week build to Payback, which is fucking
real weird.
It's stupid.
Real weird.
Let's be honest, it's stupid.
It is stupid. It is, but we'll get.
Guess what though? We're gonna watch it.
Do we know who they might have announced it? It may have been set in stone. Do we know who they're going to be defending the tag titles against? Sasha and Bayley?
No, but you could only assume that it'd be Riot Squad would be the one that I think is because there's so much tension between the two. So that to me means that they're going to go for the titles. To me, that's what it means. Which I wouldn't be mad at because Liv and Ruby didn't really have that much of an opportunity within the tag division. So I'm not mad. Not mad at all.
I'm not mad
Then
at all.
you've got the Iconics kind of floating around. You got Natty and Lana, who, by the way, I just think we talked about how they're a great pairing. They've been doing some good stuff. Oh, let's end it on this thing. Let's end it on the talk of what happened with Mickie James this week, because probably seen my tweets, Kevin. I was very annoyed.
Well, they didn't give her an entrance.
They didn't give her an entrance. They had Seth Rollins come out and interrupt the match, and they took the cameras away from the match to watch Seth Rollins argue with Samoa Joe. And then Mickie lost via countout in her return.
This is all on Raw, right?
Correct.
I imagine. So a 3-hour show, right?
Yes.
And you're stacking all this shit into one segment.
Yes.
They've done that, and they've done that multiple. They've done that before. They've done like the cutaways from matches to something else. And
Seth Rollins walked out into to the announce booth.
Yeah.
And
it's
so dumb. It's like, really, you had all this time, and it's Mickie James, who does not get enough credit for being a pioneer of why women are even in the spot they're in now. And you have a wrestling Natalya, who also is one that kind of gets swept under the rug a lot. They could have had a fucking 5-star classic, but you wouldn't know because it was overshadowed by Seth Rollins, who could have done that promo at any other point in the night on Samoa Joe, who I like, but is a commentator. Excuse me. And then Mickie James loses via countout. I'm not so mad about the loss because it could be leading to something. But, hello, she's just been out of the ring for a year and a half, and give some respect. It's not a men and women issue to me. That's anything. You're not giving me a reason to care about you're telling me that is not important, and this wrestling match is not important. Watch Seth Rollins. Yeah. That's what it's telling me.
Yeah, I don't, and I'll go back to the 3-hour thing. I don't know why you would feel the need to basically be like, the match isn't that, but you're telling me you can't carve out 3 minutes somewhere else in the show to have Rollins come out and cut a promo on Samoa Joe? Yeah. You telling me you had to combine 2 segments into one? Are you on such a time crunch with your 3-hour shows that are taped that you couldn't do that you had to basically just say, Mickie James and Natalya backseat, especially because I don't think it's a men and women thing. I think they've done it I think they've done it before to just about everybody. Yeah, but I think that there's going to be people that make it out to be a gender thing, and absolutely they have a right to. Yeah, I don't think that's unfair at all. No. I don't think that's what WWE is doing, but I think you have to raise that point.
Unintentionally, that's what they did. And you can't even give Mickie James a damn entrance. Or Natalya, for that matter. They both didn't get an entrance. And then you expect us to actually care about this story. And I'm not saying I don't care, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't. But that's what WWE is telling us, is do not care about this story because this is way more important. I just think it's dumb. And Mickie James is someone I'm a biased Mickie James fan. I understand. I like Natty as well, but Natty is someone that's always been featured in some way. I think whether it's for better or for worse, she's always kind of floating around. Mickie James is not, and Mickie James I don't feel gets the credit that she's earned in the business. Mickie James has been wrestling since 2002. Some people forget that, and she's not just here just because, like, she should be featured more. I think Mickie James is better off. I wish Mickie James was somewhere else. And I don't mean that in a nasty... I love WWE. Everyone knows that I love WWE. But Mickie James does not fit what WWE create anymore. She's older. She is not quite... I guess she doesn't really fit the mold of what they want anymore. She's kind of in a weird time zone kind of feel. She would be beneficial if she was maybe in NXT. She could probably work better down there. Or if she would be I don't like saying this, but she would be a good fit in AEW because they need women that have a bit more name value and should be utilized a little better there. Yeah, but I just wish she was respected a little more. That's all I ask.
She'd be a coup for AEW because you bring name brand, you bring a locker room leader, you bring someone that could run matches, all things that the AEW women's division really need right now. But yeah, Mickie James is a legend. You know, she's been around forever. Like you said, she wrestled at WrestleMania 22. She won the women's title at WrestleMania.
She's on that people don't talk about. They talk about Trish and Lita. Mickie James, for me, is on that level.
Well, to me, Trish and Lita was like more. I didn't look at Trish and Lita like a feud. I looked at it as like the two best of their era, just naturally butting heads. Trish and Mickie was like a real good feud for X amount of months and years, and then even from there, I think people expected Mickie to sort of fall off because when you don't have Trish there, it makes you think about it like that. But then she went on, she did a lot of great work with like a lot of different women. She obviously, the Lay Cool stuff was a little weird, but she was featured.
Yeah. Mickie had great matches with Melina and Michelle McCool. Oh, Beth. Cool. Beth. Oh my God. Her and Beth used to have great matches. She's had great programs in her ladder run. Well, after TNA, she had a great run in TNA. And then in her ladder run here in WWE with Alexa Bliss, and she's worked with Becky Lynch, and Mickie James is a surefire Hall of Famer. She is one of the best female wrestlers in the history of WWE. And I know Bruce Pritchard isn't really a big fan of her husband. And he was kind of notably the one that kind of allegedly stopped Mickey's push in TNA back in 2011. Whether that plays a factor here, I don't know. I don't know the relationships that Bruce Pritchard has with people, nor do I know the relationship that Mickie James has with Vince McMahon or whatever, but it just seems weird to bring someone back to TV and to have it be such a lack of notice and care.
Yeah.
That's all I say.
Yeah, I remember when it was announced back in, I don't know, it's been a while now, right? But when it was Mickie James coming back to Takeover to take on Asuka,
mm-hmm.
I remember how cool that was because she had been gone for a while. She did have a really good run in Impact, and it was like a homecoming. It was cool. I want, part of me wonders, and you make a good point with Pritchard and Nick Aldis, and there's always that. More so than anywhere else, it seems like those little personal beefs definitely spill over into business in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely a part of me that connects those dots and thinks Pritchard probably is just mad about Aldis flaming him and just But I also, part of me wonders, because you look at Mickie and you look at Natalya, they've been around Mickie's been around a little longer. They've been wrestling both for a long time. They're both integral to the success of the WWE women's division, and they're both seen as industry veterans and really good workers. I think the only difference is, and I wonder if this plays in at all, is that Mickie did take that TNA run for a couple of years. Natalya's been WWE loyal forever.
Natalya is WWE. She is a company woman. Let's just put
absolutely.
that out there. That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that she is like WWE spokesperson.
Oh yeah, part of me just wonders, do they hold that against Mickie?
Who knows?
I think it's plausible. I like to think that the people in charge of making business decisions don't weigh things like that when they're making said decisions. But like I just said, in wrestling, that sort of stuff bleeds over into business more often than not.
Yeah, and Mickey has notably said that the person that brought her back to WWE was Hunter, was Triple H. So, Who knows? Random question here with Mickie James, but would you like to see Mickey work in NXT?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so many people I'd love to go see because NXT just takes. It seems like the shackles come off a little bit. There's a little bit more freedom in the ring, and there's just a little bit more opportunity. I think. I'd like to see Mickey in NXT. I think it's the same as when everyone else go. Like when Charlotte went down, and you think about all the names that she could wrestle with. Charlotte and Io, Charlotte and Dakota, Charlotte and Tegan, Charlotte and whoever. You could do the same thing with Mickie James. Mickie James would have great matches with Io Shirai and Dakota Kai and Tegan
Rhea
Knox.
Ripley? Ooh, Rhea and Mickey? I wouldn't mind seeing that.
LeRae,
and it adds name value, which I guess is the only thing that maybe NXT lacks a little bit, is like pure legendary name value. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, which makes sense. And it's in its role as developmental. You don't look at it like as a place where the legends would hang out. But yeah, I don't think it would hurt to have a veteran presence down there. We see it with the men. Breezango is on the Takeover card this week, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
And Finn Balor's down there. You see, it's not unprecedented. And again, Charlotte earlier this year had a brief stint, so it's not unprecedented to see the talent go down. And I think Mickey would be well served, and I think we would all be well served to see some of those potential matches and to see just a glimpse of what we know Mickie James could be at her absolute peak, because she could still go, like you said.
Oh my God!
Whenever we see her in the ring, and it's not often. Obviously, she's been out of action for a while, and even before then, she wasn't really every week. But she's been still so good.
Yeah, I just am a Mickie James fan. I think Mickie James is fantastic, and selfishly, I want her to stay in WWE forever. That's just how I am, because I'm a WWE fan. But I just wish they would put some respect on her name, because I think it's well earned. Well earned. But that's going to kind of do us. We'll round out this episode with a little Mickie James chatter, because why not? We'll be watching Takeover and SummerSlam this weekend. I'm sure we'll have a good time doing so. Of course, if you want to hear all of my predictions for Takeover and SummerSlam, along with the one and only Mags, I'm sure there will be banter involved, as Kevin can attest to, that me and Mags will have banter.
Mags is like if you looked up banter in the dictionary.
Mm-hmm. He's my arch nemesis. Me and Mags are going to go at it. Live on Twitch.
Mags and Josh are the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn of wrestling Twitter. They're going to do this forever.
Yeah. But sometimes we're friends. Sometimes. And then other times we just are punching each other at the same time. So that's what's going to go down. Twitch.tv/Josh Robinson 00, 9:30 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time this Saturday night. Of course, that's before Takeover in my land, because it happens on Sunday morning here. So join us. It'll be a lot of fun. And we'll give you all the lowdown on what we think is going to happen at SummerSlam and Takeover. Other than that, of course, you can continue listening to the shows here on Reverb Radio. Ditz vs. Josh is on a little bit of a hiatus at the moment. Ditz is basically working 2 jobs at the moment. So obviously time zones aren't like our biggest friends. So we're just taking a little bit of a step back with that for a little while. Hence why Brothers by Law is going to be on a Monday for the foreseeable future to fill that gap. So enjoy all the shows here. Enjoy my Twitch streams, all the other stuff. Follow us on Twitter. All the links are in the description below. And we will see you on the next one. Peace out, everyone.
Look.